Welcome back to Rennch. On this episode, a beginner, that's me, is going to attempt to make a welding cart out of an old bed frame. Sorry to interrupt this really cool episode where I'm about to build a welding cart out of a bed frame, but I wanted to acknowledge a couple things that I did in this video that were irresponsible and not very safe. So in my excitement for getting a welder, which I haven't had for many years, I just kind of jumped into it. It was a Sunday afternoon, my Steelers had just lost, and I was just like, let me just go do something to get my mind off of this. And I did a few things that were really irresponsible. Last night, I could barely sleep. So I'm recording this the day after I recorded this initial video. Last night I could barely sleep. I was coughing, I was sniffing. Right now it feels like I have a cold, like I have a full headache because I grinded on 35-year-old metal, probably full of lead, with no respirator or mask or anything. And I grinded and grinded and grinded. So this was so stupid that I would do that. I know full well that that is not a safe thing to do. I have full-on respirators, I have white masks. Probably either one of them would have been fine for this task, but for whatever reason, I just didn't wear it. I was sort of in the moment and decided to just work. Number two, I was wearing shorts and sneakers while I was welding. So if I showed you my shoe, it's got a couple of holes in it where some of the fiery slag dropped off and hit me in the toe. So stupid. Wear leather when you're welding, you know, wear a jacket or at very least something long and leather shoes. I was just sort of into it, feeling like full San Diego style. And, you know, burned my foot a couple of times, ruined a pair of shoes because I was just being stupid. And third and finally, there's one of the shots where my camera, I just wasn't paying attention, but my camera's on the table and I'm grinding something and sparks are firing right at it. It's a really cool looking shot. However, my lens has pits all over it now. My screen has pits all over it now. I don't think you can see them, but it was just dumb. So, you know, when you're working on your car, don't be dumb. That was me being a bad example, and I do take responsibility for my actions and for this channel. I'm not saying I'm someone that, you know, you tell your kids to follow, but I do feel like putting content out in the world does require a certain amount of responsibility, and I just was irresponsible in this video. So I'm sorry, especially with the safety people, I know. So I decided to make this video and just let you know that I will definitely do better in the future. I will be more safe or even safer if that's how you speak. Anyway, enjoy me being unsafe and creating this, I think, really cool cart out of a bed. Gentlemen, nice to see you again. Now it's been at least 14 years since I welded anything. My RSR project had flares and tons of rust repair, but once it was finished, I sold the welder and I moved to San Diego. Now I have this new project, as you may have seen, my blasphemy build, and I have a ton of welding to do. I had an arrangement with a very popular, prominent tool company to send me some tools and welders and things like that for this project. Unfortunately, that fell through. So off to Craigslist I went. I picked up this Lincoln Electric Pro MIG 140. And one thing I forgot about welders is they're super heavy. They're really, really heavy. So I thought, all right, I'm gonna head down to Harbor Freight and get some wheels. I'm gonna shoot by Home Depot and get some angle iron. And then before I did any of that, I thought, wait a second. Bed frames are notoriously heavy. They're made of angle iron and they have wheels on them. Now these aren't exactly shop wheels, but this old bad boy, which is probably from the 60s or 70s, this thing weighs a ton. It's made of 1-inch angle iron, what looks like an 1.5-inch angle iron, and it's very well constructed. I'm gonna take this stuff, I'm gonna get rid of everything and completely disassemble all of this stuff, grind off all of the rivets, so then I can see what materials I'll need for this project. Now, I don't want to imply I know what I'm doing, because I really don't. I'm just kind of winging it with all this stuff. But what I'm going to need tool-wise are a cutting wheel. This is a really cool diamond cutting wheel I got from Bad Dog Tools last year. I've never used it. It's supposed to be great and last forever, so we'll see. And then 2, Benchmark Adhesives on Amazon gets really great reviews for their flap wheels. So I bought this Black & Decker angle grinder, and I have this one and I have another one. So it's always good to have an angle grinder that has your flap wheel and another one that has your cutting wheel. So without further ado, I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes just literally trying to disassemble and grind off all the rivets on these pieces and just separate them into their elements. Really quickly, just as a reference, eye protection, ear protection, hand protection for all this stuff. I'm using these Hi-Fi Man true wireless earbuds, and to me these are the best on the market. They're so colossally better than like Apple AirPods. They're made by a company called Hi-Fi Man. If you want to check them out, I'll put a link in the description below. One of my podcasts is I do all about high-end audio, and these things sound better than anything else I've heard on the market, and they fit your ears really well. They block out all the outside sound, so I'm sort of using them as earplugs and listening to like motivation. I'm listening to the power of now. Anyway, let's grind this stuff off and get going on this bad boy. "30 minutes later, I have all my angle iron ready to go. That was a bit of a pain in the ass, I'm not gonna lie. Probably the upside of buying things brand new is that you don't have to grind off 30-year-old rivets. Downside is it probably costs more than $5 for this amount of angle iron. I'm pretty good. My plan for this bad boy is the base is going to be will accommodate a bottom shelf, and then also the bottle. So I don't have the bottle yet, but I'll measure up the bottle. Then we'll go up and do another kind of angled platform, and that's where the welder itself is going to sit. I think I'm going to start with kind of the base and measure that up, and then like I said, I'm kind of winging this whole thing. And by the way, I haven't welded in forever, so this is going to be kind of a challenge from a welding standpoint, but we'll figure that all out as we go. I've got everything here to measure, and I think I might diagram it right on this piece of wood and then just cut my angle iron. One thing to consider is as I'm building this base, these angles are going to have to fit together like this, which means I'm going to have to notch out one of them so that this will sort of sit flat inside. So that's going to be kind of one of the little challenges. Maybe not that big of a deal. Grind it out, it'll be all good. I don't know, then I'll weld it up, see what happens. We're going to do 28 inches deep by 11 inches wide. These are roughly 28 by 11. So now I have to cut out these notches here and here so that I can get these pieces to sort of fit inside these pieces. So this looks like it's about 14 gauge metal. I measured it with my calipers, and it measures 0.083. According to this chart, I'm able to select different things. There's a chart on this welder that tells me that is about 14 gauge, and for 14 gauge I want 1.5 wire speed and to set the voltage heat to C. My first weld in 14 years. Slowing the wire speed down a little bit. It's alright. It's not terrible. Okay, this is literally the worst tack job in the history of welding. But I'm going to work on it. I'm going to continue to see how we do here. See if I can make it any better. Alright, so here's where I started, which is full pigeon poop. Full pigeon poop. Then I got a little better on this side. A little less pigeon poopy. And then this side, holy crap. I got it pretty good. I got some real penetration. And of course it doesn't look good, but I think I actually got the thing to penetrate a little bit. I ended up going with the highest voltage, which is E, and then keeping the wire feed down. So maybe I just miscalculated how thick this metal was. I couldn't really get a good bead. All right, so phase one is done. I'm reasonably happy. Like, I don't. It's not perfect by any means, but I'm reasonably happy with how the welds turned out. I got them all dressed. I've got all of these legs. And I think all I'm going to do is just, for now, throw a grind on this side and just tack these wheels on. So I have, at the very least, I can throw the welder on there and I have it mobile. Because again, it's so heavy. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to wrap it up for the night. And then I'll work on kind of, you know, stanchions and another layer like this, which is actually where the welder is going to go. But for now, the welder should fit pretty well into this little cradle. I will eventually cut wood that will fit inside here and just kind of be a base for the bottom. But for now, I'm going to grind them off, tack the wheels on, and call it a night. So here we are. Again, I'm reasonably happy with those welds. They're not perfect. I'll grind them down and they will be pretty smooth. And I feel pretty good about them overall. I mean, pretty good for a Craigslist welder and a guy that has zero welding experience. Pretty happy with the spot welds, actually. Spot welds came out pretty good. Let's see if wheels work. How's that sound? So that is phase one of the welding cart build. I'm really excited about how it came out. Now, the wheels aren't perfect. They're kind of like, and they kind of go in every direction. And they're not ideal for my rough concrete driveway, but the base is there. The next move is to put some stanchions on it and put another platform on top. And then kind of weld around that. The base will become a spot where I can store different items like my gloves and helmet and that kind of thing. And then the back will become where to store the bottle. And then I'll probably weld some hooks and things like that where I can wrap the cables around and maybe a handle. So that will be it for that. Make sure you check out phase 2 of the welding cart build. If you like the DIY stuff, definitely check out the video I did on creating a new trunk liner for pretty much any 911. I'll link it up here in one of those little clickable deals. And of course, if you haven't checked out the Blasphemy build yet, it's going to be really, really cool. So thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time.